Welcome back, guys. In this video we're gonna be looking into the process of setting up AWS identity and access management, also known as IAM, and we're gonna be looking into the roles and policies of IAM to grant secure access to AWS Lambda for uploading documents to S3 bucket. Let's dive into it. We're going to be looking into the fundamentals of IAM and making sure that we have the proper permissions to set up the seamless interaction between the Lambda and the S3. For that, let's go to IAM first. Again, you can see it over here. I'm just going to type it and I'll be able to find it over here in the services. First thing first, we need to create a new role for that. So there are multiple ways of getting Lambda permissions to upload or do anything with the S3 buckets. This is the most secure, or it's considered as a best practice. There are other ones where you can actually use the credentials, save it in your Node application in the backend and stuff like that. We're going to be doing it using the best practices. So for that, we're gonna log into this IAM dashboard. I'm gonna go to my roles, and I'm gonna create a new role for this video. We're gonna be using, for the trusted entity type, we're gonna be using an AWS service, which allows AWS services like EC2, Lambda, and others to perform actions in this account. And then in terms of the service or the use case, we're gonna be selecting Lambda, and it tells me that choose a use case for the specify. If you may end up selecting something where you have multiple options. So we have this Lambda here. Let's go to next. Over here we're gonna be selecting some permissions. So the permission we are looking for is called it's called S3 full access. So if you look for S3 full access, so it's called Amazon S3 full access. I'm gonna select that and go select and click next. Over here we're gonna be giving this role a new name. So let's just call it demo Lambda S3 role. You can just to remember that you're gonna say that Lambda will have full access to S3. Okay, then we can create this role by clicking at the create role button. You're gonna see this demo Lambda S3 role, which we just created. Okay, gotta remember that demo Lambda S3 role. Okay, next is that we're gonna be going to our Lambda. We're gonna be creating a new Lambda here. Sure, we want to use the Node.js is fine. Now we're gonna call it demo. What are we doing? We are trying to access S3, or maybe upload document to S3. Okay, I'm gonna go with the default settings here. I'm gonna we're clicking the create function button. Okay, now I have this function. We won't be writing the full-blown code for this Lambda. We're just gonna be looking into how we can actually upload a document in Node.js, but we're just gonna be writing a code snippet for that. But in order to give access to S3 to this Lambda, we need to go to the configuration, and then we need to go to permissions. So over here in this window, you can see the execution role. So it already created an execution role. It is an existing execution role. You can look at the the resources it can get to. By default, it would have access to the Amazon CloudWatch logs, and that would be it. So if I need to go to edit, and then over here in the existing role, we already have created the role. So we are gonna be looking for that role. This is the role we created, demo Lambda S3 role, and we're gonna say save. So once we save it, you would be able to see that Amazon S3 as a resource. That means like this Lambda now has access, actually full access. You can actually go in the role and modify if you want to narrow down the access to maybe just uploading a document or getting a document. But right now it has full access to S3 resources. The last thing we wanted to do is we're going to be looking into, let's just create a function called upload document.js. It could be part of your Lambda. And so for that, there are a couple of things. So one thing is like when using the libraries, so I'm assuming that we're going to be using the Node.js. So Node.js, if you are using version 14 or lower, you would do something like import AWS from AWS-SDK, and when using it, you would do something like const s3 equals to new aws.s3. That's how you would do it if you are using something like a Node version which is less than like 14 or below. But in our case, our Lambda is like, we set up the Lambda as version 20. For that, you need to do import S3 client from AWS-SDK/client-S3. Okay, and in order to use it, we're gonna have const s3 equals to new s3 client. Okay, so let's assume we have a function, async function, maybe upload document, and then we have a request and a result. So the way we are gonna be uploading a document is like we need basically two things. One is like we need to set up the parameters for the uploading, and we're gonna go into the details of that in a second. But once you have all those parameters, basically information about where you want to upload it, what you need to do is, let's just stick with the columns here. Okay, what you need to do is you need to upload it. So in order to upload, you're going to be getting a result back, and that would be await s3.upload. That would be upload with the upload params we could just created that variable, and then promise. Okay, once you have that, you can access. So it's gonna give you the object back, but the main thing is like maybe when the UI is hitting that endpoint, you want to return the location of the document you uploaded. So you can access that location by upload result dot location. That's and you can return that. And in terms of the parameters, the parameters we need are like, we need a bucket. So maybe you have a like user documents bucket. The other one is a key, like how you wanna name that file. You sometimes can name it like maybe if user is uploading it for a particular reason, you can give that a variable like a reason. Sometimes we append the dates with it, just to so that multiple people having the same name kind of thing, but they will have different timestamps. So we're gonna say date dot now, and maybe uh, like uh, and maybe it could be like whatever the name they gave. So it could be like a file name, something like that. Okay, and then we have gonna have a body of that. That's the file name which they so the file name which they provided, or could be file name dot data. Sometimes they are, if they are uploading the PDFs. Okay, and then we have a content type. We're gonna say again the file name dot IAM type. And then the last thing is, because you need the location back, you have to keep that as a public read, so it's gonna be publicly accessible. Reason being is like otherwise, if it is not a public file, you would not do, you won't be able to get the location like that. Just remember that if an artifact in the S3 is not publicly accessible, you need to get a pre-signed URL in order to and give it back to the user. Uh, and they will have a limited time, maybe 12 hours, in order to download that, stuff like that. But in our case, maybe we just wanna uh, maybe we are not even returning the location. Maybe we are putting that the location of that in the database, that so that as a developer we can know that okay, this artifact was uploaded at that location. So we even if we want to do that in that scenario, just think about creating a pre-signed URL doesn't make sense because it's going to expire after 12 hours or so. So that's how you would do that. That's all I wanted to cover in this video. Thanks for watching.